Hello folks, good evening Taverners, how are you doing today? Good to see everyone. Welcome back to the Matchday Tavern. We are live for Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast against Norway. Emerse Faé Ivory Coast, who have been, I would say, amongst the best sides to watch in the tournament so far. I've really enjoyed watching Ivory Coast. I thought they were brilliant against Ecuador. I thought they were really unlucky against Germany. And this is a really, really good side, I think, who've got a really, really good chance of going far in the tournament. But they come up today against a side who lots of others seem to be fancying to go very far in the tournament. Ståle Solbakken's Norway, who you'd also have to say, incredibly well fancied. They were, I would say, unlucky against France. They were brilliant against Iraq and Senegal. When they dropped Haaland against France, I could understand maybe Haaland, no Odegaard, no Noosa. They changed the team up a little bit against France, and I still thought they gave a good account of themselves. This is a really, really, I would say this is maybe, looking at the knockout stages, I would actually say this is the game of the knockout stages. I think this is the game of the round. This is the one that I can't quite choose. This is the one that I'm looking at and thinking, it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if either team went through. Now, to be fair, I don't think I would have called Morocco beating Netherlands, and I certainly wouldn't have called Paraguay beating Germany either. So it's possibly the shock of the round we've already seen in maybe Paraguay knocking Germany out. I don't think we're going to see a substantially big shock tonight, because none of us are going to be that surprised if either side goes through, right? Right. But anyway, we are 6 minutes to kick off. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the game, before we get into all that stuff, let's give a big shout-out to our friends Oxford Natural, who continue to sponsor the Matchday Tavern throughout this World Cup. And a great bunch of guys and gals they are as well. Go and show them some love if you're thinking of kick-starting your health journey, if you're thinking of making some positive changes, you're thinking of, like I said, getting that summer bod. We're all trying to do better. I'm certainly one of them. I'm trying to hit the old before and after picture, like Robbie is there, and Michael Owen is next one there. Yeah, Michael Owen is there. Oh goodness me, KG's using them as well on the Optimum Day and Night supplements. You've got a great product there that is working for a lot of people, getting excellent results. And if you're interested in finding out more, if you're interested, as I say, in starting your health journey, it ain't no immediate fix, it's no magic pill, but it will absolutely help you. You can go and find out more by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code, which is on screen right now and will be on screen throughout the live as well. Go and check them out. 70% off your first order, which I think is in absolutely well above fair, I think that. Go and check it out, and I will see you following my path maybe along this journey. I'm going to be kickstarting it as well. Right. And a big thank you again to Oxford Natural. So with that said, let's get stuck into today's game. First game of 3 today. First up, obviously this one. Then we have France against Sweden, which, again, might well be the game of the round as well. That one, I can't really separate those two. It's going to be a really good night, isn't it, I think? Ecuador and Mexico's a 2 a.m. kickoff. Ecuador, Mexico. Again, you've got to fancy Mexico there, but Ecuador have been no slouches either. Breaking news, by the way, I don't know if people have seen that Matheus Fernandes has agreed to sign for Tottenham. 85 million quid. 85 million for Tottenham to West Ham. Matheus Fernandes. That is a big move. Probably Kai Bosch's the Sandro Tonali move, you would think. And that might just point Sandro Tonali maybe towards Man United, maybe towards City, maybe to somewhere else. Could be to Liverpool, who knows. Maybe he stays at Newcastle after all this. I guess we'll wait and see. But good to see everyone in the chat. Matty, I don't even know George, Lil Philly, Aftab, 3-star, good to see you, man. Who else have we got? Sarah, Stephen, Scouse. Good evening, boss. How are you? I'm very good, mate. How are you? Anfield Cop. Connor, hello, Key. Got the day off work before a busy week for the 4th of July. Gonna spend my day off here with you. Oh, what a guy. We get to spend the day with you, Connor. That's what it is, mate. Good to see you. Yesterday in the chats, I told you the game would be 1-1 and Gakpo would score, and it happened. Mate, you're our oracle. You're our predictor. You're the guy who gets it right. What's your thoughts on tonight's game, more importantly? Right, where is... It's on, is it ITV1 this game? I think it's ITV1, isn't it? Oh no, it's Match of the Day. It's BBC. Carl O'Neill, hello everyone, how are you? Chimey, good to see you. Everyone flying in the chat, this is good stuff. Jordan, how's it going? Mr. Turnables, the mathematician bottled it. He did. He did. How's it going, Adam? Pete, very much appreciated that, mate. Thank you very much. Right, so, what's our thoughts on this one? Let's go through the lineups first and foremost. Let's get stuck into the lineups, because there's some interesting changes there for both sides. Yahya Fofana is still in goal. Guella Doué, Odilon Kosunu and Emmanuel Agbadou still at the back. Ghislaine Conan on the left. In midfield, it's Ibrahim Sangare with Frank Kessie, Ulai, and then it's a front three of Pepe, Jan Diamand and Bonnie. Bonnie starts for Ivory Coast today. For Norway, Ørjan Nyland comes back in. Selvik didn't really cover himself in glory in that France game, so Ørjan Nyland back in. Marcus Pedersen on the right. Wolves left back, David Moller-Wolf at left back. In the centre of defence, it's Brentford's Christopher Ayer and Torbjorn Hegem. I don't know if he's any relation to Vegard Hegem of Liverpool. Then you've got in midfield Sander Berger of Fulham, Patrick Berg, who had a great season with Bodo Glimt, and Martin Odegaard, and then a front three. What about that? Antonio Nusa, Alexander Sørloth, and the Viking himself, Erling Haaland. I've got the kits wrong. I've got the kits on the thumbnail wrong. Oh, I'm so gutted. Norway are in their all-white kit. Ivory Coast in their burnt orange kit. I thought it was going to be the opposite way around. Yes, love that. Thank you very much for those. Really appreciate that. Right, so we don't need the groups, do we? I don't think we need the groups anymore. We'll swerve the groups because they're done. Yeah, let's leave the groups because the groups are finished. We've turned the groups off. We don't need them on that right-hand side. Jack, how far do you think England gets? How far do I think England get? I would say on current evidence, I think they'd do well to get to the quarters. Honestly, I think Mexico will probably get them in the next round. And if that's the case, I think Mexico would do England, to be honest. I think Ecuador would. Honestly, both teams can defend, and that's England's big problem. Sitting low, you know, they were garbage against Panama, I thought. England really poor. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if indeed it does end up to be one of those two, Mexico or Panama, that knocks them out, or Mexico and Ecuador that knocks them out. Reese, how do you foresee this one panning out? Ivory Coast just for me. Yeah, Ivory Coast are, by the way, very significantly second favourites in this game. Norway are just about 2-1. I think you can get 3.5s for Ivory Coast. It's quite a big old split on this one, because I went for Ivory Coast as well. Like, gut feel, it was Ivory Coast, and then I looked at the at what everyone else was favouring, what all the companies seemed to be favouring, and they all seem to be pointing more at Norway. I just think physicality will win the day here. Norway have got some brilliant players, a couple of really good technical players in there, Odegaard, Nusa, you know, Patrick Berg in particular. I think the defence is the big issue for Ivory Coast. I look at them and think, sorry, for Norway. I think the big issue for Norway is the goalkeeper, the defenders. None of them are particularly strong. Ayer, maybe from Brentford, you could look at and think, yeah, he's got a bit about him, but other than that, it's not a great back line for Norway. Yeah, I think it's... I'm leaning ever so slightly towards Ivory Coast. I think there's a little bit more experience in that Norway backline. Sorry, in the Ivory Coast backline. Bit more experience in the Ivory Coast backline and a bit more pace and power in the attack and midfield. Jordan says Goncalo Ramos has gone for 75 million. Crazy price. I agree. I think that one's a very smart move by AC Milan, actually. I'm really looking forward to seeing him at Milan. I've said for a while I'm a big fan of Goncalo Ramos. Yes, Philip. How's it going? Number one security. Good to see you. Neil. Lovely to see everyone. Liam says, hi, Key. Can Tottenham F off? Seriously, they're taking all the players on the market. Well, why not? I mean, they've gone and got Mateus Fernandes and done, I think, very well there. 85 million quid's a lot of money. But I think he's probably a slightly cheaper version of Tonali. I think that's not a bad signing for Spurs. It's about the going rate, isn't it, for a good midfielder? And he will absolutely, I think he will absolutely get it right this time. Roberto De Zerbi, that is. Long ball forward from Norway. Ivory Coast scramble it away. Key, they're always wrong. I know. There's no rhyme or reason to these things, is there? 3-star, never heard of that Sangari. Who does he play for, Key? Hey, this charming Dan. Who have you got for first corner today then, Key? We know you love a good corner. Well, I haven't actually gone for corners on this one. I have gone for Ivory Coast to win, both teams to... as well, Ivory Coast to qualify, both teams to score. That's all I went for on this one because it was remarkably good price. Nearly 4.5 to 1 just for that. So, yeah. Oh, and a goalkeeper. Goalkeeper save. One goalkeeper save each. So, as long as I hit that, I'm all good. Sarah says, on my street, the Scottish flags are down. Oh, the Scottish flags are... Someone put a post up. I had to laugh my head off, by the way. It was brilliant. Someone put a post up on Twitter or Facebook or wherever it was. I can't remember. And it was, Scotland still have a chance of qualifying. They still have a chance of qualifying. All they need is Paraguay to get found guilty of fielding an ineligible player. Senegal to pull out willingly, voluntarily. And it was like all these different permutations. Scotland are still in with a chance. There's still hope. Andy Foster, watch Spurs win the Prem next season. I'm telling you, I said it weeks ago. I still think Spurs will be top 5. They were only 9 points. 9 points off Europe last season. As bad as they finished, like 17th, it looks bad. I actually think it's a lot worse than... or rather, it's a lot better than it looks. They are... they're in a very, very strong position with the players coming back. How's it going, Ben? Shahid says, Key, what happened last night to the stream, mate? I just finished early, mate. I finished the Germany game early. Yeah, couldn't go on to the extra time and the pens. Couldn't do it, so I finished the Germany game early. Neil, I'm so tired for a second. I thought for a second the Ivory Coast flag was Ireland. I know, Dan. I know, believe me, I know. Can't call it on ones like this. It is a flip of a coin on ones like this. But I just always feel like in games where one side you expect to dominate, first corner is a very reasonable thing to go with, and it's very good, odds. Jordan, good job you didn't come back on for the Netherlands game. That was quite boring. Yeah, I was going to say, I know it only kind of sprung to life in about the 70th minute, didn't it, really? Latter part of the second half. Breaking news coming out of Sky Germany is that Jurgen Klopp is very interested and is being teed up for the new manager of Germany. Julian Nagelsmann is going to get let go, and in is going to come Jurgen Klopp. He's been very reluctant, hasn't he, to sort of rule himself out of any new managerial positions. Would be interesting to see what he would do with that Germany side. Thought he made a very fair point last night, by the way, about, this is good football from the Ivory Coast. Go on, lad. Far post, headed away by Wolf. It's out to Nicolas Pepe on the far side. Drives into the area. Good football again. Better. Will that reignite Nagelsmann to United if Carrick fails? I think Carrick is, in the nicest possible way, I don't mean this like in a hateful way that, he's always, and I want United to fail. I do want that. But I do think Carrick will, I think even the most ardent Man United fan would probably concede it's unlikely that Carrick sees it out to the end of the season. He's a very inexperienced manager. With the best will in the world, I don't think what we saw from United last season was a reflection of Carrick's unbelievable managerial talent. I think it was a reflection of him being able to come in and just lift a place that was feeling quite heavy, and the three at the back thing wasn't really working. So all he did was just come in, kind of just say to people like Kobbie Mainoo and a few others who weren't really getting a kick, let's, clean slate, lads. Let's all work hard, clean slate, and we're going to go back to a back four. Simplified everything, and you've only got 38 games a season, pretty much. Boxed it. I think that was what we saw with Carrick. And I think Nagelsmann will probably be on the hunt for a club job short whenever a big one comes up. And in the Premier League, there always is one before long, isn't there? You have to wonder which one it would be, though. Nagelsmann's next job in the Premier League. Would he maybe look at Barca, I wonder? Hansi Flick doesn't seem to be long for Barcelona. I personally think that one's Arne Slot, I think Arne Slot's going to be next Barca manager. I really do. But I really don't think Nagelsmann, I don't rate him. I've said that for a while now. I don't think he's really the... I don't think he's the manager people think he is. Neil says, Key, I know it's a long way away, but how do you think Germany would do in Euro 28? Can it finally come home, given we'll be on home soil? Can it? Yes. Will it? I mean, I'm always quite cynical with these things. England have got a good side. I just think we need a different manager. If England get a manager that's not German, yeah, I will say that. I do think it has to be an English manager, and I think if they come in for Euro 2028, whoever that may be, then yes, we've got a much better chance of winning it. It's Faris says, let's see what Carrick has to do when he has to play Champions League. That's true. Philip Bidwell, Haaland has brought Haaland on his shirt for Norway in honour of his mother, who was a heptathlete for Norway. Norway, big chance. Oh, good defending that. Very good defending from Kosanu, I think that was. Good play. This charming Dan says it'd be a good job for Klopp, especially if he doesn't want the day-to-day hassle of a club management anymore. I think that's what he said, isn't it? He said he was tired. That was the reason he left Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp. I'm tired. So if he's tired, then probably not unreasonable to think his next job would be an international one. Sir, not a chance will Barca hire Slot. Honestly, I think you really underrate just how highly he's rated in Europe. He was very highly rated before he went to Liverpool. I don't think his time at Liverpool will have really put people off. There's not a manager in Europe that doesn't have a sacking really on their CV. Most managers in Europe have had a bad end at one club on. I mean, look at Mourinho. Most people thought he was washed. He's a Real Madrid manager. I guarantee if I'd have asked you 12 months ago, I bet Mourinho will be managing Real Madrid next year. You'd have gone, yeah, no chance. No chance. I think clubs are quite understanding of the transitional nature of football, or transactional nature of football. City of Northville, it never should have been left to that. This was a team that the US stomped. I don't know what is going on with the Germans. And Prince Rupert says, I mean, Germany were absolutely robbed last night. Shocking decision to take their goal away from them. Well, do you know what? Hang on. I do have to say, Jurgen Klopp made a very fine point with that, where he said, if that goal gets ruled out, then, I mean, Arsenal wouldn't have won pretty much anything last year because they scored 60% of their goals like that. Crowding the goalkeeper, wrestling the goalkeeper. And it's true, isn't it? I think that's the one thing you'd have to say. Klopp was bang right. He was absolutely right on that. Arsenal's spent pretty much, I mean, one of the best sides in Europe, no doubt, but they played exactly that way last year. So it's mad, isn't it? It's mad that goal got ruled out for a... I mean, it was a push on the goalkeeper is what the referee cited. But yeah, very shocked, Mark, about Netherlands going out. So I was gutted for Cody Gakpo. When he scored, it was obviously a very emotional reaction. Good ball forward, poor touch for Ivory Coast, and it runs through to the keeper. Slot will get a major job, 100%. Apart from Guardiola and Arteta, that's been it for the last few years to win the Prem. That's it. It's very true. Arne Slot for AC Milan, says Julius. Well, I mean, you've got Amorim at AC Milan at the minute. Rupert said he barely touched the keeper. The keeper dived. Definitely not something VAR should have intervened with. They've been very, very lenient, I think, on that type of stuff all season. So I have to agree that they shouldn't have got involved. But maybe that's the change of pace, the change of direction that we're heading towards. Like Jamie's saying, the keeper could have gone and punched the ball or caught the ball. Therefore, if you're impeding the keeper, do you not feel like in football, by the way, I do feel like this is where we've gone to. Feels like there's been a very quick change from about 10 years ago. If you touched the keeper, if you breathed on the keeper, oh, it was a foul. It was an immediate foul. If you went anywhere near the keeper, it was a foul, right? And then all of a sudden, just in these last 12 to 18 months, it feels like the Premier League have just gone, nah, do you know what? Keeper's fair game. Keeper is fair game. That's a clear foul on Jan Diamand, and it's going to be a corner, Ivory Coast. Yeah, he's looking at the ref here saying, come on, that should have been a foul, but it is a corner. I think the Premier League went immediately from no foul on the keeper. From easy foul every time on the keeper. Anytime someone blows on the keeper, anytime someone breathes near him, it's a foul. To just dead quickly, it's a foul. You have to basically decapitate the guy if it's a foul. That's the only way you're going to get a foul, by doing that to the keeper. Oh, cleared away off the corner. And now they're going back to the opposite way, aren't they? They're going back to incredibly light touch. Very, very soft. Like yesterday. So I'd quite like to see that, to be honest. I'd quite like to see that. Mr. Turner, I disagree that it started in the last 12 to 18 months. Teams in the Premier League had been crowding keepers. Yeah, crowding, but not actively holding, I guess. I think if you put hands on the keeper, that's a different thing, isn't it? Standing in front of the keeper is two different things. Standing in front of and not holding your ground kind of thing. Standing your feet in the pitch and just kind of staying where you are. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's when you start putting hands on like that, I think that's where it's going to be an issue. George, hello Key. Germany went out last night. Good riddance and no robbery. Jordan, who are Liverpool going to get instead of Diamand? Well, the rumours seem to be focused very heavily on Barcola. Yankuba Minte is one that keeps coming up. And I guess, that would really depend for me on price. I think Yankuba Minte's got a lot of the qualities that Jan Diamand has, to be honest. In terms of, very, very quick acceleration. Chance creation, very good. Does create a lot of opportunities. I just think, again, he's probably one of them that you look at and think Brighton didn't really finish an awful lot of them last season. They went a long period without winning a game of football. Fabian Herzl's job was on the line, and in the end they come back and they get European football. But Yankuba Minte is a very good player. Darren Beckley, yeah, we've just been talking about that Fernandes going there. This charming Dan, I miss when goalkeepers used to wipe out everyone around them when they went up for the ball. Perhaps a few cheeky elbows in the face might make players stop crowning the keeper. Here's Pepe. Good run. Ivory Coast in the area. 18 minutes in. Oh, that's good football. That's going to be a goal kick. Yeah. We did it around 3 times. Arsenal. No, Arsenal did that every game. Every game Arsenal did that. And the one time a team did that to Arsenal against West Ham, it got ruled out. That's why everyone was furious about it. Jordan, anyone likely to sign Somerville? Any clubs being linked to him? Again, there's a few. Spurs were linked with him for a while. I'm sure someone will go in for Somerville. Feels a bit of a weird time, this, in football, in terms of the transfer values that are being placed on players. PSG have come out, and I don't know if you saw the news earlier today that David Ornstein put out, where he said PSG are looking at it and saying they aren't in any rush to sell Barcola. They have sold Ramos for 75 million quid. They've got money in the bank. They're not in any rush at all to get that money in. And they believe that Barcola's value is significantly higher than Elliot Anderson's 116 million. I don't know why Elliot Anderson is being used as a reference for Barcola. They're not even remotely the same player. It's not the same situation at all. It's not going from one player in that league to another. It's not like Barcola's going to get transferred to bloody Marseille, is he? So that was a factor in Elliot Anderson's fee. If Barcola's going abroad, that immediately reduces his fee down. And honestly, there's no way you're arguing he's worth over 100 million quid. And yet PSG seem to be. So I'll be honest, I don't think Barcola's going anywhere. And if Barcola isn't going anywhere, then I don't think Jan Diamand is going to PSG. People are being very cocky with this Jan Diamand thing. I'm telling you, there's still more in that. I'm telling you, there is still more in that deal. I don't think Liverpool have left the table at all. Ben, would you take Rodrigo at Liverpool, Key? Yeah, I would actually. He's a very good player, but I think questionable. Obviously, he had that big injury. You never know how players come back from injuries like that. So I think Liverpool would be hesitant to pay such a big fee for a player who hasn't kicked a ball in 7 or 8 months. Mr. Turnables, this transfer fee inflation is only going to get worse. Yeah. It's only going to get worse. And that's why I think you're going to see more and more teams. Oh, what a chance. Ivory Coast, good effort. That was good football, that down the left-hand side. It was Ghislaine Conan who cut in on his right foot, hits it low down to the near post, and Orjan Nyland watched it go comfortably into his side netting. Yeah, he had it covered there, Nyland. But good football again from the Ivory Coast. I think we're going to see more and more people. I really do. I think we're going to see more and more teams, rather, go for the less risk averse approach to transfers and try and go for, like I say, the Munoz. I think Liverpool signing Munoz is a sign of things to come. They're looking around and they're going, I'm sorry, we ain't paying that sort of money for a player anymore. It's not happening. We're going to go and get the next best thing. We're going to go and get the player that you would have got if we signed. If Liverpool went and got Ryan, chances are Munoz would have gone to somewhere like Bournemouth or Newcastle. But I think that pattern we're going to see less and less. Kukurea for 70 I find mad. How much would a prime Neville, Irwin, Walker be worth now? Yeah, a lot more than 70. Ben, Anderson, Rodri and Cherky's not a bad midfield for City next season. If Rodri can stay fit, yeah, it's a wonderful midfield, that. Again, and whether or not Rodri actually stays, as Sir was saying there. EPL bargain bin era. It's true. Premier League clubs shopping in the bin in HMV. That's what we're seeing. Jordan, I'm not sure on the rules nowadays, but even Stoke are getting a player for 10 million and we finished 17th in the Championship for the last 5 years. It's honestly, it's the money's falling down and the inflation is impacting everyone. Chelsea linked with Krupi and Balogun. Balogun would be a bad signing. Chelsea aren't going to get Krupi. Surely that's a bad idea for Krupi. Ben, is that still happening? Not heard anything about that for a while. What's that? What's Sarah saying? I didn't see. Why can't I see Sarah's last comment? Oh, Rodri. Sorry. Rodri leaving City. Oh, that's a foul, surely. And a yellow card. Got to be. Jan Dierman got to the ball first, and it's a bad tackle, that. Definitely a yellow card. Come on, minimum yellow. You're not getting a red for that. But it's a definite yellow. He gets wiped out there, doesn't he? Fabrizio says, yo, Laporte to Chelsea. Laporte to Chelsea, of all people. England 4, Congo 1 tomorrow, says Adam. Again, I wouldn't be so certain on that one. What's this? Tell me he's not going having a look at VAR. Oh, hydration break. Jesus Christ. I thought to myself, there's no way that's a red card. No way. Will, do you think we'll ever see transfer fees hit $1 billion? We've never hit the Neymar amount again. Now, I think the Neymar amount was a very specific condition that I don't think we'll ever really see again. It's not happened for a very long time. Probably because the mechanisms of players going for that, it just isn't really viable anymore for clubs, I don't think. Hydration break sponsored by Frei Bentos. How often does the Premier League expensive player record get broken these days? What, in terms of players coming into the Prem? I don't know, you know. When's the last time, obviously, Isaac, Wirtz, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Elliot Anderson, kind of all about the 100 million. I think are they the only ones for over 100 million now? I think they are, aren't they? 100 million or more. Rice. Clips never liked Fernandez anyway. Hey, yeah, he's off to Spurs, isn't he? 85 million quid. That's a big old fee, that one. City of Northville going out early might be a good dose of medicine. The assumption that every cup is our cup is not reasonable any more than the Germans, I heard, insisting they would beat France. Well, do you know what? I thought that was really interesting last night. So, in the history of the World Cup, I don't know if you saw this, in the entire history of the World Cup, Germany have missed 4 penalties in penalty shootouts. 4, right? 3 of them were last night. Voltemade, Tar, and Havertz. They are the only 3 people, I think, since 1970-something. Was it 70? I think it was a 78 World Cup that the last fella missed a penalty for Germany in a World Cup penalty shootout. They've always been great at penny shootouts, Germany. Made me laugh seeing Tar giving it the big one on the halfway line just to sky it. Gabriel taking the mask off like Scooby-Doo. It was me all along. Ben, the strange thing about Fernandez, the last 2 Prem teams he played for have been relegated. I don't think that's going to happen this year with Spurs. I really don't. I think Spurs will be much, much better this year. I really do. Wasn't it Podolski? Or was It wasn't Podolski, no. There's only ever been 4 German penalty takers at the World Cup, and the last one was a good 40-odd years ago. 25 goals have happened at this World Cup in the 90th minute or beyond. That's sensational. Love that stat. 25 in the 90th minute or beyond. Spurs top 6 comfortably, says Clips. And Jordan, do you think De Zerbi sees the full season out? Yes, I do actually. I think De Zerbi's a very, very good manager. And he's exactly the type of manager Spurs needed, with exactly the type of authority they needed. I think you're very soon going to be able to draw a line between how much authority a manager has at that club and how successful that club does. Arteta has huge sway on things at Arsenal and has for many years. He gets his own way. Pep Guardiola the same. Liverpool have this head coach model. I'm not entirely sure why, because I don't believe it's ever going to work, whoever we appoint, and that's why I think Arne Slot failed, moreover. I don't think it is as much due to how good the manager is. I just think all it does is make it easier to get rid of him, because the club are always signing the players, not the manager. I think Xabi Alonso will succeed. I think De Zerbi will succeed. Oh, it's a fabulous ball. Must be. How's he missed it? Ivory Coast nearly to corner. I tell you what, Ayers just sliced that one over the bar. Nicolas Pepe round the back. So close. It's great football. Jan Diamand again. Fabulous ball in. Nicolas Pepe. Why does he not shoot there? He's arriving at the back post in the 6-yard box. All he's got to do is cushion that back across the keeper. And somehow he scuffs it across the face of goal. It's going to be a corner kick anyway. Ben, how many goals are you predicting for Isak next season if he stays fit? 20 to 25 minimum. Yeah, I think he can do 20, minimum 20, just in the league. Ben says, my point with that is, why is he worth 85 mil? Why is Matheus Fernandes worth 85 mil? Because he plays for two teams, or has played for two teams that have been relegated. Do you think that would be a factor in how you would value that player? How the team did? I don't think so. I think players are valued based on their individual performances consistently across a season. How the team fares is very rarely a factor in the value that they place on him. I think the other thing at play there with Matheus Fernandes is there's not too many relatively young central midfielders in the Prem who you could basically hang your hat on and say they'll do a really good job for us. There's not too many. You can't point to too many. Once you've got Matheus Fernandes and you've got Tonali, Elliot Anderson, like, who else have they got within Spurs' reach that would be almost a surefire thing? There's not many, is there? So that's why, and that's another reason why Matheus Fernandes' value is up, because you're looking at it and going, there's no one else. And when scarcity is in the market, prices skyrocket. Ivory Coast, it's going to be another corner. Ivory Coast dominating here. Ivory Coast dominating. Take it easy, Rupert. Have a good one, mate. See you soon. Mark says, Key, do you think all three teams who were promoted to the Prem will go straight back down again? I think if Coventry keep Lampard as manager, they'll stay up. I think Coventry have probably got the best out of the three teams chance, yes. And I think one of them will stay up, for sure. Ben, what did he do that made him worth that, though? What did Matheus Fernandes do for West Ham that made him worth that? Again, I can't give you a strong argument short of probably the underlying data suggests he was one of the better players in a really poor season. And you know, it was the same with Declan Rice, wasn't it, when he played for West Ham? They had a great season in Europe, but maybe weren't as strong domestically. 16 assists for Wirtz or what. Wirtz will have a very good season next year. If he's starting consistently, yes, he will. "30 minutes in, and Erling Haaland has had just 3 touches in this game. They can't get him into the game. Ivory Coast, like I said, they've marked him out the game. They've stopped those passing lanes through to the wide players. Norway aren't really getting too much. Look at that. Look how tight. I think that's a really good tactic that you're seeing from Ivory Coast. Look how tight the fullbacks are to the wide players. And most of Erling Haaland's goals have come from those wide areas. If they stop the players, if Erling Haaland gets it into feet, they're obviously backing the likes of Kessie and, Kosanu and Agbadou to get around him and physically to match him and bully him, to outnumber him. But look at that. They just can't get the ball into the wide areas. And Diamand picks it up. Ivory Coast got to get the pass right here. Bonnie, corner to Ivory Coast. Again, Ivory Coast dominating. The Elephants are in charge here. Jamie, anyone who thinks Mainoo's better than Anderson should retire from football. Three-star, I can never understand why parents take babes in arms to major football matches and then have them wearing headphones to drown out the noise. Surely all the flare smoke is no good for the poor kid. I'd agree with that as well. I've just seen that as well. Baffling, because that's an extra ticket as well, isn't it? I imagine she's probably paid for that kid a seat. Ivory Coast down the right-hand side. Got to get the ball in. They've still got lots of bodies in the box. Oh, that's good football. Really good football. Very surprised at how little we've seen Amad Diallo in this tournament as well, given how much Man United fans are adamant that he's such a wonderful player that he would go for 70, 80 million himself. Christ, I've had United fans telling me all for a long time now that he's top quality and that he will be one to watch in the summer transfer market maybe. Something tells me he ain't going anywhere this summer, but next summer I think if he doesn't get starts ahead of Mbermo, United will have to sell him. Danny says 85 for Fernandes, a relegated player, is madness. Why is it? If Elliot Anderson is 116, Mateus Fernandes I think is 85. Is that not a reasonable? That's a reasonable line in the sand, isn't it? If you're drawing a pattern, yeah, if you're drawing a pattern, a line. Mr. Turnbull says Pepe is better than him. That's why Amad Diallo isn't playing. They're not ear defenders, the babies are listening to Key. I'm like Carl Pilkington. Carl Dilkington. Hey, actually, it was only one touch. It wasn't even 3 touches. It was 1 touch in the opening 30 minutes for Erling Haaland. Lamine Yamal is talking about getting Julian Alvarez in for Barcelona. He's come out and give a statement today and said that he really likes Julian Alvarez. He also likes Mikel Oyarzabal, who's had a good World Cup so far for Spain. Plays for Real Sociedad. I wonder if Barca will go and get him in. City of Northville, Ahmad will see plenty of action with tons more games and look to be making fuck all signings. Well, you've got Ederson in. Surely that's more than most. Haaland header. He's got a shot on target at least. It was pretty tame. Easy for the keeper. Danny, he's a championship player with 0 experience. Relegated twice. He has got experience. He's got 2 years in the Premier League and he's been a standout player for both teams in those 2 seasons. Yeah, and he's an international for Portugal. And he's still relatively young. How is he? How old is he? 23? Something like that? He's only young. He's only a baby, Matheus Fernandes. I think 85 million. Let's say you were selling Matheus Fernandes. You'd point exactly to that price. I know, but still relegated twice, though. What's that going to do with anything? Why would that matter? No one gets picked. No one gets valued based on what the team that they played for did. No one's going to be looking at that. Jan Deerman's not 100 million plus, and they're going, yeah, well, what did Leipzig do this season? No one's asked. They're just looking at how good Jan Deerman played. He's 21. There you go. He's 21. 21. Already getting, minutes for Portugal. And he was fantastic in the Euro Under-21s Championship last year as well. The guy's a very special player. I'm telling you, there's absolutely no way. And listen, you're saying 70 million max. If you were selling Matheus Fernandes, you're saying you'd ask for 70 million max. Behave yourself. No, you wouldn't. And even if that's true, let's say you're saying 70 million max is what you would ask for. How can 85 million then be outrageous? It's only about 20% more. It's not a massive amount, that. 85, I think, is very, very fair for that player. William Slane, the score is 0-0, 39 minutes in. Again, same as all the other games we've seen. Relatively slow start. Still waiting for the big chance in the game. We've probably only had one. Gretsch, if he was in any other league than the Prem, he wouldn't go for any more than 40 million. I know, but again, that's a factor in why he's priced at 85. Because he's going from one Premier League team to another Premier League team. Or he's already played in the Prem, rather. Let's say it that way. He's already played 2 years in the Prem. Strike! Oh, what a goal! Noosa, absolute screamer. And I tell you what, his value's just gone through the roof. Goodness me. Cuts in on his right foot. Lovely little curling shot. I tell you what. Jan Deerman, get on your bike. There's a better winger from RB Leipzig. Let's get him in. Antonio Noosa. Take a bow, son. Take a bow. That's unbelievable stuff. That is unbelievable. Excellent goal. Right-footed. Norway haven't done anything in this game. They've barely been involved. Steps inside. Lovely little curling shot. No chance at all for the keeper. You're never stopping that one. I think Nicolas Pepe maybe could argue he should have got a bit closer. But there's very little backlift. He doesn't need much space. He just digs it out. There's not much of a backlift at all. It's almost like the ball's stuck under his feet. He doesn't need a whole lot of room. And he just digs this shot out, curls up, and right into the postage stamp. Lovely, lovely goal, that. Antonio Noosa, 21 years of age, for RB Leipzig. His numbers haven't been brilliant for Leipzig, but what a fabulous, fabulous goal that was. And no chance at all for Yaya Fofana. Sympathy in Kube says a win for the Elephants. I think you could be right, It's like Doku v Everton. It is a little bit, isn't it? Absolute top draw. What club is Noosa playing for right now? Same one as Jan Deerman. That's what they have. They have Noosa on the right, Noosa on the left, Jan Deerman on the right. Or vice versa sometimes. A Michael Elise style of finish. Danny says, well, Mainu has to be 100 mil if that's the rate. I think you're right. I don't personally rate Mainu, but I think you're right. If he was being sold, I agree. I would say that as a Liverpool fan. I agree. If Kobbie Mainu was on the market and he was going to go, right now, someone would probably have to pay around the same sort of fee as Matheus Fernandes and Elliot Anderson. It'd be in between that bracket. You're right. That is the going rate. Haaland must be. Oh, nearly 2. How's he not scored that? Is he onside? I tell you what, it's a corner kick. How's he not scored that? Oh, Norway all of a sudden. He's headed it on there, Sorloth. And Haaland, oh, it's a good block. It's a good block. Should Haaland be doing better? It's a lovely, lovely bit of defending from Agbadu, I think it is. No, it's not. It's Sangare, actually, who gets the touch in the end. Very, very good defending. And now Patrick Berg's going to go over to whip the corner in. Very, very good start. Very good 5 minutes for Norway. Chance! Oh, again, how's that stayed out? It's Solbakken at the back stick. Oh, I tell you what. Lucky Ivory Coast here. They've gone from being in the ascendancy. Solbakken with a header. And back stick. Neither Haaland nor Wolf, I think it was, who was coming in back stick, could get the final touch on it. Thomas Bennett missed the last couple of days' streams, was down in London for Wimbledon. Day one, how you doing, Key? Good lad. Who was you playing? You're on centre court, mate. Good to see you. City of Northville, Haaland looks to believe he should be doing better. I agree with that. Swifty, very good finish. Good to see you, mate. Kieran Price, thoughts on the Matheus Fernandes deal? I think it's a good one for Spurs, and I think it is fair value, by the way. That's one people keep... We've been saying this for a while now. People keep coming in and saying, what do you think about Elliot Anderson? It's a bit of a rip-off, isn't it? Matheus Fernandes, bit of a rip-off. I think both of them are absolutely fair value when you look at other people in the transfer market. I think they're absolutely right. JB1, do you think SCR rules have a lot to do with the inflated transfer fees? Smaller clubs need revenue. Ooh, Ivory Coast in again there. I mean, to be honest, we've just been talking about changes to how clubs are going to approach the transfer market. And yes, I do think we're seeing a bit of a step change in all that now. Dylan, good to see you. Haaland, Mr. Sitter, wow. Thanks very much, Adam. Top fella. That block is another 20 million on Sangare's price tag. It's a corner kick here. Jan Diamand's gone to take it. Don't really see him as a set-piece taker, Jan Diamand. But he has whipped it in. It's actually a good corner, and it's a good punch by Nyland to get it away. Swifty, I think Anderson is looking leggy after too many games. He needs a rest. That's a great pass from Diamand. And it's going to be another corner, is it? Another corner? Yeah, Frank Kessie gets another corner. Was on centre court, but swinging beers instead of swinging rackets. Good lad. Who was you watching? Who did you catch? I can't believe Humbert's gone out to Zizou Bergs today. I was watching a bit of that. Sinner's not gone out early, has he either? Absolute cracker from Nusaki. Yeah, great goal. Ivory Coast far post. Whoa! He's gone down. He's screaming for a foul at the back stick for a penalty. Don't think you're getting a pen for that. Noosa gets the free kick though, but Ivory Coast players asking the question of the referee there. Looked like he was holding on to him a little bit too long there. Let's see. No, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You're not getting that. Danny Mainoo's better than Elliot Anderson. He's not the same player. They don't do the same job. They don't do the same job. Apart from both being footballers and playing broadly in a similar area of the pitch, they don't do the same job. They're completely different players. Sinner, Sabalenka and Djokovic. Can't get much better for the day's ticket. You've done well there. How does it work then? Do you have to pick specific games? Is it specific games you get tickets for? Is it like day one of Wimbledon and you can kind of go to whichever court you want? I would assume it's the former rather than the latter, because that would be chaos whenever Djokovic is playing, obviously, or whoever. The popular players. Tube you're using, let's send the cyborg home. He had his shirt, but it was the diving swan after. It was very silly, wasn't it, I think? Matheus Fernandez's calculated characteristics, his strengths last year were holding on to the ball. People couldn't really get the ball off Fernandez. He was very good at winning the ball back, and he was very good at completing dribbles. But his weaknesses were crossing and finishing. So put him in areas of the pitch, in the forward areas, in the final third, he's probably not that good. As we saw, to be honest, he was clean through against Arsenal, wasn't he? And he hit it straight at David Raya. So yeah, I would agree with that. Matheus Fernandes, very good at winning the ball back, keeping the ball, and carrying the ball, but not very good at anything in the final third. No, centre court for full day. Got it in the final ballot. Nice. Good stuff. City of Northville says, God, imagine doing so poorly in the World Cup that the president of the country starts an investigation into your side. That's what is happening to South Korea, apparently due to taxpayer funding. I've seen that is it Hong Myung-bo, the manager of South Korea, got his face blurred out, and they only tend to do that to like criminals in South Korea. They were that like devastated by how South Korea did at the World Cup. How's it going, Billy? FPL have a pint. Man City are borrowing money from Noel Gallagher. Well, Gallagher's got that much money now, has he? Swifty have Spurs really paid 85 million for him. Crikey. I think that is. I think that's the direction of travel in the market. I really do. I think that is fair value for the player now. It really is. Puppy says, who's winning? Who's winning in this game is Norway. Ivory Coast 0, Norway 1. Nusert with a goal. Carl, is 85 mil too much for Fernandes in your opinion? Nope, not at all. I think it's very, very fair value. Same as Elliot Anderson. I think they're both about right. Danny, imagine being the captain of Netherlands and not stepping up to take a pen. He's a centre-back, mate. I think centre-backs don't usually take penalties. Billy, I'm doing great, thank you. Just tired after work. Good to hear we're all in good spirits. That's it. All in good spirits. I might be consuming a few spirits later on tonight. I'll have a few little sherbets. Shahid says, well done, Thomas. Hope you had a great day. City of Northville, we're saying the manager's going to be disappearing. Oh, God. I think that's in the other. That's a little bit further north, that one. Robert says, Noosa is apparently holding out for a move to Newcastle, and can you blame him? Why? Is he after a bit of stotty cake or something? Is that what is he like that why he's going there? Is there a shortage of stotty cake up there in Leipzig? Swifty used to get a bargain from the relegated teams. It's a crazy price in my view. I get that that's how it used to be, but I don't think that's a reflection of where we are now. I think the value of players is being calculated on other players in the market of a similar worth. It doesn't matter where the team is now. Maybe that was how we used to calibrate values and calculate values, but that's just not the way anymore. I think we're looking at, here's where this player stands. It doesn't really matter where the team is. This is where this player stands. This is the data that we have on it. We think he's up here with this bunch of players. This bunch of players have gone for this type of transfer fee. If you want him, he's going for that type of transfer fee. George, everyone thought Quinton Timber was Durian last night. The Arsenal agenda runs into the World Cup. How is Liverpool ever going to replace a player like Van Dijk? He was class again last night, says City of Northville. I don't think you can. Same as you can't really replace Salah. You're not going to replace either of them. You just got to kind of spread the brilliance across the rest of the team. Carl, I think it's 20 to 25 too much, but it's deals like Enzo and Anderson that have inflated the prices. I know, but that's it. Is that not exactly what? That's if you were the selling club, if you were Matheus Fernandes, if you were West Ham rather, you would be asking for 80 to 85 for sure. Faux show. Righto. Okay. So, halftime quiz. I have got you a halftime quiz. Before everyone freaks the F out, I have got you an halftime quiz. Hang on a second. Let me just jot down the numbers so I can get them right. Right. Just making sure no one can see me on the old camera what I'm writing down here. Right. Billy says, good to hear Suzuki, the Japanese goalkeeper, is getting all sorts of attention from different clubs. Yeah, he was fantastic, wasn't he? He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. Swifty, we've got the mighty Forest in a friendly. Oh, Notts County are playing Forest. Two-time European champions. Apparently, they rarely mention it. Hey, love that. Love that. Okay. Right, so this is a top 20 list, unsurprisingly. No, that's not true, actually. Bugger. I'm trying to just make sure I've not got any outliers, because people will fact check me. Hang on a second, here we go. Let me sort this bit out. Be on for the second half by the time we've started. Oh, that's rubbish. That's not good. Oh, actually, that might actually be fair. Hang on, we might actually have had a chance there. Oh my god. Yeah, I was gonna say I've cocked up. I've cocked up on this quiz. I've cocked up, and I won't do it. I won't do it otherwise. It's we're all over the place. I did have a really, really good one as well, but I've just gone to fact check a couple, and I think I've got it absolutely wrong. So unlucky. So there are far as I've got here. 13, is it 15? I think it's 15 players. Okay, 15 players. Might be more. No, it is more. Bastard. Shit. It's a lot more. So, can you name me the 20 players who have scored in the Champions League and played in the Premier League? 20 Norwegian players who've scored in the Premier League. Sorry, scored in... There are 20 Norwegian players who have scored a goal in the Champions League and played in the Premier League. There you go. That's the question. Berger Sorloth, correct. Yes. No, not Sander Berger. Sander Berger hasn't. Sander Berger hasn't, sorry. Henningberg has. I'll give you Henningberg, even though it's my fault. Haaland, Solskjaer, yes. Reese, yes. Johnny's done it. Ginger, as he was known. Thomason is Danish, mate, or Swedish, rather. One of the two. Danish. Not Anders Limpar. No, not Limpar. Welshwing, come check this dude. It's absolutely shocking, isn't it? Shocking. Incredible lack of prep. Oscar Bob and Odegaard. But Oscar Bob has, yeah. Oscar Bob has for City, and Odegaard has. Yeah. B for Berger. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer you've got. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think, left to get. Still got quite a few more to go. Mike's setup looks class, mate. Cheers, Mike. Ronnie Johnson, believe it or not, never actually scored a goal in the Champions League. Did play a lot in the Champions League for Man United, but never actually scored a goal in it. John Carew is correct. Yes. Not Key. John Carew is correct. Haaland's dad. Again, no. Torre Andre Flo, correct. There's a player who used to play for Southampton. I thought Carew was Australian. No, very, very much Norwegian. Morten Gamst Pedersen never scored in the Champions League. It's an absolute disgrace, that, isn't it? Not Eric Nevlin, not Josh King. No. Reese, we've already got. Leonardson never scored in the Champions League. Oh, sorry, he did. Sorry, one. He got one. He got one, Leonardson. Haaland's mum. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left to get. One player was a centre-forward for Spurs. One player was a winger for Southampton. One is a Liverpool defender. Not Bjornaby. You've got to get this one, Ian. Not Egil Ostenstad. No, never scored a Champions League goal, believe it or not. And you would have thought with Ostenstad, maybe he would have had a spell at like Rosenborg or something, where he'd have scored in the Champions League, but evidently not. No, not Ostenstad. Iverson's correct. Iverson is right. Iverson is right. Stefan Iverson. El Yunusi for Southampton, correct. There's a couple of others still. Not Strand Larsen, no. Not Laudrup. No. Yeah, Laudrup's Danish. I was going to say, yeah. Not Agger. No, not Pitchnick. No, it is Hegem. Vegard Hegem. Great finish that from Gakpo, wasn't it? Fabulous finish for Gakpo. Huppier's finish. Not Bohinen. Erik Bakker is correct. Ex-Leeds midfielder, Erik Bakker. You've got a couple of defenders now, and you'll struggle with these two. One of them is a player who is currently playing in the Norway squad. He's not on the pitch today, but I think he might be on the bench. I think he is, anyway. Oh, Ange, come on, mate. I know, come on. Let's not be like that. I thought we were going to be mates, us. Ostegard. There he is. I don't know why I've just shouted it out. It's Ostegard. Ostegard it is. Former Brighton centre-back Ostegard. Chewbacca. No, and the last one is Havard Nordtveit. Havard Nordtveit. Nordtveit. I think it was Havard. Was it Havard Nordtveit? Yeah. Had a spell at West Ham, had a spell at Fulham, came through at Arsenal, I think. He scored in the Champions League. Yeah, Havard Nordtveit. So there you go, that was it. That was your Norwegian players that have scored a Champions League goal and played in the Premier League. Haaland, Solskjaer, Carew, Flo, Soloth, Elyounoussi, Odegaard, Iversen, Riise, Hegem, Ostegard, Berg, Bakker, Nordtveit, Bob and Leonardson. Next quiz, top 10 penalty takers of all time. God, I think you'd struggle with that. And it depends how you want to do it. Successive penalties would be probably a good one. Matt Letitia, top. Kian, who's winning the Prem next season? And what other predictions have you got? I predict that Arsenal finish outside the top 5, and I predict that you will lose your mind when you hear that. I predict that you'll go, what? I can't believe he's saying that. He's such an Arsenal hater. Yeah, no, I'm not saying... I don't believe that at all, by the way. I just think it's a ridiculous question. Ridiculous questions get ridiculous answers, and we're still in June, mate. We're still in June. You can't get any prediction anyone gives now is really not worth any merit. It's not worth giving a second's thought. Do you know why? Because there's still a shitload of players who'll leave clubs, a shitload of players who'll come into clubs, and all that will affect how each team does. Spurs have just signed an 85 million Mateus Fernandes. Anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. Natalie, I got the spelling a bit wrong. Lots of Ostegards up here. Spurs getting Fernandes is a mad one. Everyone seems to be going off and saying that's like a really expensive deal. I don't think it is. Who are we getting for the right wing key? Honestly, mate, I think we could do a whole lot worse than that young man there. Either of the Leipzig wingers, Diamand or Noosa. I still think we are in the running for Diamand for what it's worth. I genuinely don't think it's I don't think it's we're out of that race. In spite of what Ornstein said, I genuinely do still think there's Liverpool are a serious option for him. I don't buy it. I don't buy what Ornstein said. I think there's a very, very good chance that it was fed to David Ornstein by people at Leipzig, people at PSG, people that he trusts, understandably. But he's not exactly got a 100% track record. He's not even got a 50% track record. He's a guy who, like all journalists, gives us information that he believes to be true at the time. But, you know, he doesn't always get it right. And I think to some extent, journalists are manipulated to release certain information. I think that might be another occasion like this again. I genuinely believe Liverpool don't put 2 bids in for that player unless they seriously think he is interested. And I don't believe that we would do that. I don't believe any club would do that, by the way. That's not like I think Liverpool are better than anyone else. I just don't think any club consistently goes in for a player, gets knocked back, goes back in for the same player, unless they've had encouragement from the player they'd really like to come. Don't believe that happens at all. And by the way, PSG still haven't made a bid yet. Liverpool have made 2, apparently. PSG haven't made a single bid. Timbo, this isn't even close. Sorry, this isn't even because Norway are winning right now. How on earth did more people predict Ivory Coast to win? Did I miss something? No, I genuinely think a lot of people, I was one of them. I thought Ivory Coast would go through, and I still think Ivory Coast have got a very good chance. I would say they've been the better side. Up until that one piece of absolute brilliance from Noosa, Ivory Coast have been the better side here. How's it going, Harrison? Mackenzie says, what do you think of Bruno at Newcastle? Well, it looks like he wants to go. Apparently there's an argument that only one of Tonali and or Bruno will be allowed to leave. There's no way that both will be allowed to leave, come what may. I think Bruno would be the less expensive of the two, just because of his age. Good football. Great ball in. Oh, I tell you what, that's so close. If Bonnie gambles there, then it's 1-1. Here's Diamand. Good pass in. Pepe. Corner to Ivory Coast. Gotta be. Tonali will go. His head has been turned for a while. I know, but I think Bruno's has as well. I honestly, mate, I think that Bruno and Tonali are both... There's probably quite a few players at Newcastle looking towards the exit door and thinking, well, you know, we're not in Europe. I think they might be inclined to make a move. And Bruno Guimaraes is, you know, he's not long for the football world in terms of his playing career is just ebbing away a little bit. He'll be yearning for those big Champions League nights. He's getting a taste of playing regularly for Brazil. Big moments like the one he created yesterday against Japan. He'll want to have that taste of playing at the top end, and he's very much capable of it, isn't he? He's a good player, Bruno, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw him make a move and really push for a move, and the same with Tonali. If both of them push, it'd be interesting to see how Newcastle react. Swifty says Spurs are spending 200 million on 2 midfielders. It's a huge gamble. Well, they've only spent it on one so far. That might be that it's 85 million just for Fernandes, and they don't go back in for Tonali. Ian, if Diamand goes to PSG, would you take a gamble on and buy, or is he too young? I think we'll probably take a gamble on someone. But there'll have to be an acceptance from our fans that we're not going to be at the top end of the table, whoever we sign. And that's why, ultimately, I'll bring it back to the slot thing. It's still mad to me that we've got fans saying they wanted him sacked because we finished 4th or 5th, and yet simultaneously wanted 8 or 9 moved on. Doesn't make any sense, does it? And there's not really a market for us that we can replace Salah. If we don't get someone like... I don't think it all hinges on Diamand, by the way, because he's a good player, but I think we could do well with a Minter, for example. I think Minter's probably a standout one on that right-hand side. Does a similar type of job to Jan Diamand. A little bit less flashy, but he would probably be 60 or 70 million minimum of anyone's money. Kieran, how's the game been, Key? It's been alright. Yeah, it's been alright. Second half started a little bit better. Up till 40 minutes or so, I think it was kind of all Ivory Coast. It was a pretty dull and drab game, but Norway stuck it in the top corner. Excellent goal. And then they had a chance to make it 2 very quickly after. Good football down the left. Excellent ball in. Ivory Coast now pushing for that equaliser. And a terrible shot. Who's that? That's Sangare. Oh, bloody 3-star said 2 minutes ago he's just added 20 million to his value with that block that he got on Haaland. It was a good bit of defensive work from Sangare in the first half. But that's just took 20 million off. Gets the ball 30 yards out and he's just skied it. He's just absolutely skied it. Timbo, I think people wanted Slot sacked because of the performances more than the results. I think 5th flattered Liverpool, really. Just in the case of the teams below being even worse. But that doesn't make any sense. That's like saying the same with Arsenal. 1st flattered them. It's just that City and Liverpool fell off. You could say that about every single team. Man United 3rd, yeah, well, they only got it because the other team... You are where you are relative to every other team. Every team finishes where they deserve to finish after 38 games. Believe me. You can't make an argument that they didn't. The table never lies after 38 games. It is absolutely bang on the money. 5th definitely doesn't flatter Liverpool the same way 1st doesn't flatter Arsenal. They were the best team in the country last year. And that's a damning indictment of how bad the league was. But they were the best. There's no doubt. Natalie says, think of those 2 mids at Spurs like a diamond in a turd. Pretty much like the Tottenham Stadium, as the surrounding area is as picturesque as Bratislava in the late 80s. Very poetic. I can't say, Bratislava. Apparently a beautiful place now, though. One of my mates has just got back from Bratislava. How's it going, CEO? Norway, far post, dinked it up, and the keeper comes and gets it. Too easy, that. Pete, speaking of Tonali, if we signed him, is there more bookies in Liverpool than Newcastle? Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, I think Tonali to Liverpool actually might make more sense now, but I just wonder whether Newcastle will actually sell him to us. Would you take a player like Mario Lemina for a couple of seasons? I think we need someone who's a bit more experienced in the middle of the park. Liverpool are desperate for some experience. We need to sign a player a bit like Wataru Endo a few years ago. When we signed him, he came in and immediately just settled things down. We're desperate for someone like that who can just put the foot on the ball. Ivory Coast, strike! Must be! This time! Oh, what a save from Nyland! That was the chance. Oh, a massive moment. Unlucky. How's it going, Shell? How you feeling? How you feeling, Shell? We've been thinking of you. We've been saying, I hope Shell's okay. Ian, hey Key, who do you think will be in the semis of this World Cup? Too hard to predict at the minute, isn't it, given what happened with Paraguay and Germany last night? Key, we have no chance. Why? Why don't we have any chance? Why don't you back us again to get Tonali? I think we could. Ivory Coast should be winning this, says R. Mackenzie. Well, they've had a couple of big chances now and not done enough. Ian, I fancy Morocco to win the whole thing. The first African side to win the World Cup. Could you imagine? Morocco. Be a hell of an achievement, that. Hell of an achievement. They've been a really, really good side, Morocco, but I have to say, I thought the Dutch probably should have finished them off last night when they go 1-0 up. I thought they were the better side. Natalie, I live not far from the Arsenal Stadium in London. Love to give both sets of fans grief and doing it with a bit of wordsmithery. Confuses both sets as they don't understand the insults. Good ball, far post, Ivory Coast. Oh, there's a bit of a rhyme there, speaking of wordsmithery. Far post, Ivory Coast. Could be an Argentina-France final again, no joke. And Kieran, I reckon Morocco will get gifted it in 3 months. Yeah, they don't need to win it, do they? They just need to get to the final and kick up a stink after the game. As long as they're robbing towels in the final. They'll start pinching towels in the final and kick up a fuss after it. They'll get given the World Cup, whoever they're playing against. Timbo, don't think Liverpool needs Tonali, really. He's not really a 6. He's a bit like Gravenberch in that sense, where he can do a job, but he's better as an 8. I don't think we specifically need a 6. I think, well, We've needed a 6 for years, but we've also won a league without a 6. It's not necessarily a number 6 that we definitely need. It would be nice to have one, but we need legs, and we need someone who uses the ball well. McAllister is not that anymore. Yeah, McAllister is just not that anymore. Gabriel says, what's the game on now? It's on BBC. It's Ivory Coast 0, Norway 1, 58 minutes. Free kick for Norway. Odegaard about to put it into the box. And the big man's there. Erling Haaland, they're all queuing up. Ian, I think the game is evolving away from out-and-out sixes. Yeah, I mean, it also feels like it's evolving a little bit away from goal-scoring wingers as well, doesn't it? Do you not think? I feel like more and more we're seeing wingers... Like Jan Diamand, 100 million quid. He's not necessarily a goal scorer. He can create lots, and I think that's why Liverpool are being linked with like Minter as well. And you know, Doku's not necessarily a goal scorer, but he's a massive asset for Manchester City. I think it's moving back towards goal scoring centre forwards. If you want him, Tonali as a McAllister replacement, then 100% get that. Anyone is better than McAllister. Feel like Fede Valverde would just solve all our issues. Well, yeah. Good short corner from Ivory Coast here. Stood up far post. Oh, I think he's just been caught in the misters there, the Norway. I think it's Noosa, isn't it? Oh, what a pass that is. Headed back out to Diamand. Being closed down. He's got to get in the box. They've got numbers in there, Ivory Coast. There's 4 in there. Sangare again. Someone take the ball off him. It's not Sangare, it's Agbadou. But it's the same shot from about 40 yards out. It's just... Are they just after giving the ball away to the fans behind the goal? Christ, how many times have they done that now? Ian, I agree. I want Rio on the right, as I want old school wingers that don't always cut in to work with Isak. I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see Liverpool increasingly rely on a number 10 and a centre forward and get wingers like Munoz, Rio, maybe Minter. I think Minter is, if Diamand doesn't come, I genuinely do think we'll go to Minter. Okay, Elia Wahi has come on. In spite of the rumours and the allegations of him being involved in match fixing. Not sure if you've seen this news about Elia Wahi. He's just come on as a substitute with Amad Diallo. Ange Bonny has gone off. But there is a match fixing allegation surrounding Elia Wahi. He's talented centre forward, but he was arrested on suspicion of match fixing offences just a couple of weeks ago, before the start of the tournament. He apparently deliberately earned a yellow card while he was playing for Nice against Metz on May 17th. Yeah, he's the subject of an active investigation which is seeking to establish whether Elia Wahi deliberately earned a yellow card against Metz while playing for Nice in Ligue 1 back in May. John says Liverpool should just get Camavinga. Honestly, I don't fancy that signing at all. I think he's kind of lost a bit of motivation, Camavinga. That's not really good from Diamand. Needs to do better in that area. Andy says Brighton signed Pascal Strike from Leeds. That's a good signing, isn't it? Very good signing, that. I know he's only got a year left on his contract, but it's about, is it nearly 20 million quid? That's a very, very smart move from Brighton. He's still relatively young, Strike. He's a left-footed ball-playing centre-half. He's a bit of a rarity in the market. Here's Amad Diallo. Too injury-prone, Camavinga. John says, do you think Fernandes is worth 85 million? I do, mate, yeah. I absolutely do. I find it difficult to argue that him and Anderson are not worth exactly the fees that they've gone for. When you look at fees of other players, obviously, you look at that's how fees are made. You look at what other players went for, and that's exactly where clubs will argue, well, he went for this, therefore he's got to be worth this. And I think you'd find it very difficult to argue Matheus Fernandes is not worth 85 million when you compare it in that basis. Billy says, how could they possibly prove that? Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but I guess it's just an active investigation and they'll have to see. Charmy, if I was playing against Liverpool, I'd bet on myself getting a card too. He gets a yellow playing for Nice. That takes the biscuit. Pete, see yourself out, mate. That's shocking. That's absolutely dreadful. I actually love that, to be fair. I'm keeping that one. Plays for Nice. That takes the biscuit. We'll use that one regularly if we're watching Nice later this season in a League One game. I'm pinching that one, Pete. Munoz is the most looking Spaniard ever. Is that like the most Scottish looking Spaniard or the most Irish looking? He's got a little bit of red hair, hasn't he, Munoz? AC Milan want Mason Mount. Ivory Coast far post. Oh, I keep saying that, keep rhyming that one. Scrapping in the box and Haaland gets it away. CEO says, I really hope Arsenal can sign Munoz and Dufy. Dufy? Which Duf? Are we on about Duf as in from West Ham? Are Arsenal in for him? El Hadji Malik Duf. I think we've got a hydration break here. Can't see you going getting those two. That would be a silly move for both of them because they're not going to start for Arsenal, are they? Duf's a good player, but I don't see him ever going and saying, yeah, I'll be a backup at Arsenal. I think he'd want to play and start regular minutes, regular games. I always question players who do that. Do you not think? I always look at same as Diamond. This is why I said if Diamond goes to PSG, I'm kind of fine with it because I look at it and think he's not interested in playing football. If he's going to PSG, he ain't interested in playing football because he's going to be competing with about 3 other wingers. There's about 3 other people in his position. He'll never get a game. Good goalkeeping from Ivorian Nyland there. Lovely ball forward and he was sharp off his line. Ben says, Key, is there anyone out there you could sign that could rack up the numbers Salah did for Liverpool? Yeah, Yamal. Maybe Yamal. He's the only obvious one, isn't he? There's not many that I'd look at and think immediately guaranteed he would be a nailed on, would score loads of goals for us. Gotta remember, Liverpool really did platform Salah. Like, the only way Salah broke the Premier League record was because we said to him for the season, Arne Slot just went, yeah, we don't need to give you any... We won't give you any defensive duties at all. None. You just go forward and make sure you finish the chances. And that's why he broke the record. I don't think you're going to get that again. Corner to be retaken. There's a little bit of holding there in the middle between Sangare and Sander Berger. And Matty says, Key, if you're saying Fernandes is 85 million, then what do you think Alex Scott is worth? Since I think he should be worth more than Fernandes. I think he would be in that bracket, yeah. I think he'd be about that fee. I think the difference with Alex Scott, mate, is he's had a big injury. That must be off the line! How's that been kept out? Norway with a strike off the corner. And it's cleared off the line. And now Ivory Coast come forward with it. Oh, just shows how quickly it can turn there. Yeah, Alex. I think that's the big difference really with Alex Scott, because if you look at Alex Scott, mate, he is absolutely every bit as good as Matheus Fernandes, but he's had a big injury on his record. I think he's 12 months older, nearly 18 months older. So yeah, Matheus Fernandes is nearly 22. Alex Scott is nearly 23. He's had a big injury on his record, and if you look at his sort of availability in the Premier League, this was his first season where he played over 30 games. He's had 2 seasons before that where he kind of barely made 20. So that would be the thing that would hold Alex Scott's value down, because they would look at his historic availability and they would say, well, that kind of brings it down a little bit. So I think you'd probably get Alex Scott for around about 70. But they would definitely use the Matheus Fernandes deal as a benchmark. 100%. Here we go, another hydration break. Adam says 12 corners, not a sausage. Goalkeeper smoking cigars. Timbo says, just call me Nostradamus because I said 3 years ago Rafinha would be a good Salah replacement. Someone hire me. Yeah, he would. I mean, he plays mostly off the left, doesn't he? Yeah, but he's, again, yeah, Rafinha's not a bad player at all. I like him. Natalie says, Key, maybe get a Chelsea player. Torres was great at Liverpool and shite at Chelsea. Salah was shite at Chelsea and great at Liverpool. Do you know what? So right what you're saying there, Natalie. We were talking about this because I don't think Xabi Alonso necessarily wants a system with wingers per se. If you look at how he played at Leipzig, at Leverkusen, he had his fullbacks very high and wide, and he played more with kind of like inside forwards and 10s. That's what Wirtz was, and he had that sort of a, you know, with a big centre forward in there. So I don't know if Estevao and I think Cole Palmer will thrive under Xabi Alonso, and I think there's an argument that you could maybe look at someone like maybe Neto as well, he can kind of come inside and he could thrive as well. But I think Estevao, obviously he's got a big injury, he's going to be out for a while. Estevao, I think, might not do so well. Garnacho, I still think there's a player in Garnacho, I really do. He's obviously a bit of an head the ball, and that new haircut he's got is... My head was on Mars when I saw that. But, yeah, Garnacho could be a signing for someone. There is value with Garnacho. He's one of them that you could pick up for... I mean, what did they pay for United? They paid 40 million, was it? 40 million quid for Garnacho. If you go and get him for... Let's say you just go and give Chelsea their money back. I mean, I think you could probably... Chelsea might take 30 for him now, or 25, just to get him off the books. I honestly think if an Everton or someone like that went in and got Garnacho, he would be a hero for him. And very soon, you would have one of them sort of like... He might need to take a step down, do you know what I mean? Take a bit of a step down, humble him a little bit, and maybe that's what ends up getting him back to the level that we all could see. FPL Have a Pint says Man United must be very worried about these inflated transfer prices. How's it going, Ian? Key says these players are worth what they are, but Enzo for 100 is apparently madness. No. What I'm saying is, your quote was Enzo for 130. What I said was Chelsea will get the money back on him. I said I don't think Chelsea get a huge amount of money for him. Hey, look at that. Just as we're talking about Alex Scott, Romano has literally just in the last second tweeted about him. Bournemouth insist on no plans to let Alex Scott leave this summer. New deal is on the table for the midfielder. Arsenal and other clubs have called, but Bournemouth are pushing for a new contract. That's another one of them Romano tweets, isn't it, where he's saying absolutely nothing, really. There's a lot of clubs interested in this player. The club don't want him to leave. What's the point of the tweet then? Great. I don't really see a world in which Alex Scott leaves, personally. I think he's going to be too much money. And there's still that risk there, given the injuries that he's had previously. Tonali, Fernandes, Maddison. Am I dreaming? Mate, I don't think you're going to sign Tonali and Fernandes. I can't see you signing both. I think maybe Tonali was the initial plan, but when that looked to be more expensive than 85 million, Fernandes became the option. I don't see Spurs going in for Tonali again. Natalie says you just need a cracking CAM to feed the forwards, like Verst, but without needing Specsavers trip for his aim. He was brilliant last night, Vert. I thought he was good last night. Ben, I always thought Liverpool would have benefited from an Alonso system. It would have been perfect for Trent and Robertson. Neither of whom at the club anymore, of course. But I agree, yeah, in their peak, in their prime, maybe they would have been all right with a bit more license to get forward. Spurs, they want to sign both. Says who? I don't think that would happen. I can't see Spurs paying 200 million for two midfielders, mate. I don't see it happening. I think you went in for Tonali, you got knocked back, you went in for Fernandes, and for that reason, that's your new midfielder. I don't see you going and getting Tonali for 100 million. That ain't happening. This charming Dan, there is a player in Garnacho. The trouble is, there's also an absolute twat in there too. That's fair. That's very fair. Rob says Romano is a parasite. Shell, any idea who Arthur Barrett is and if he's any good? Oh, he's the young lad, isn't he, that Everton have just about to sign, the young Chelsea Academy player. Swifty says James Garner on a free is pretty good value given what fees others are playing for midfielders. On a free? Why is James Garner on a free? James Garner on a free? He's not on a free. Everton paid about 20 odd million for him. If you could get James Garner on a free, that'd be elite. Rob says Ben Jacobs just tweeted saying Spurs want both. I don't know how he could know that. Oh my God, what a goal! What a goal from Amad Diallo. Might possibly be goal of the tournament. I tell you what, his value's just gone up. Talk about players whose valuations are soaring. We've just seen Nusa, who's had a bit of a disjointed season at Leipzig. They're all talking about the other Leipzig winger. They're all talking about Jan Diamand, not Nusa. But Nusa curled it top corner just in the first half. And now we've just seen Amad Diallo, who's had plenty of criticism. He's not really getting starts for Man United. I think there might be a move for this young man. I don't think he's going to get the action that he wants at Man United. But what a piece of football that is. This is Mo Salah-esque. Get him to Liverpool. Oh, that might be the signing we want. Get Amad Diallo to Liverpool. We'll take that. I think he's a Liverpool player. Let's get him to the club. Go on, lad. We'll offer United 40 million. That's a great run. What a goal. And it is. I'm sure that's going to extra time, says George. And for that, the rate just went up 10%. Yes, love it. I don't know why I did it in that accent. Because Liam Neeson doesn't say it in that accent. Absolutely incredible run from Amad. You love to see it. Great goal. Swifty, I was under the impression that Garner was out of contract. I could be wrong. You absolutely are. Believe me, if James Garner was out of contract, mate, there would be a... Put it this way. I don't think Elliot Anderson would have gone for 116 million because James Garner on a free would have skewered the market massively. Get Amad out of the Premier League now. I'm telling you, I really do think he's a Liverpool player in waiting, Amad Diallo. Maybe he's one of the first in, well, he would be the first, wouldn't he, in 60-odd years, 66 years, nearly. No, well, it's 60-odd years anyway. It's at least 60 years since a Man United player moved directly, Liverpool or Man United player moved directly between the two clubs. That was Phil Chisnall in the 60s. Could we see Amad Diallo to Liverpool? He does fit the profile. I wonder if we could ask the question to Man United, see if he wants to come to a big club. Key, are you hating no Arsenal hate watches? No, mate, I'm loving it. We've got loads of football on. It's brilliant. We've enjoyed the World Cup so far. Norway play it in. Chance. Edge of the box must be. Why is he not taking that first goal? Odegaard, yeah, he puts his hand up. Absolutely, he should. The Arsenal captain. Good grief, that was a waste. That was a huge chance. Odegaard fluffing his lines. Not for the first time. Swifty, what are we saying? Imagine he goes to Arsenal, though. Who? Amad. Ben says, did Matt Busby play for both too? I think Matt Busby did play for... Did Matt Busby play for Liverpool? I don't think he did. I'm sure there was a connection with Matt Busby. He might have played for Liverpool, actually. Now you've put that in my head. He might have done. There was a connection. But I can't remember if he actually played. He did. He was a player for Liverpool, wasn't he? Claim for a penalty. Big claim for a penalty from Ivory Coast. Oh, I tell you what. It's Nicolas Pepe who's gone down. And he's having a bit of a smug smile. I think he knows. AMS says, favourite game of the World Cup so far, Key. Oh, favourite game of the World Cup. Do you know what? I really enjoyed. I liked that Brazil v Japan game yesterday. I did think that was a really good game. I enjoyed the Ivory Coast Ecuador one, even though it was only 1-0 in the last minute. That one, Diallo scored in that one as well. I've really enjoyed watching Ivory Coast in this tournament. I would say there's a couple of games. This one's been a bit dull first half, but it is starting to finish strongly. I think it would be between Ecuador, Ivory Coast and Brazil, Japan. I think those two are really good. Mercury says, Ahmad wouldn't scratch the bench at Arsenal. He wouldn't scratch the bench. I tell you what, I don't think Saka scores that goal. Not at the minute. It was a great goal from Amad Diallo. I think he's a wonderful player, I really do. He's a very, very good player, but he's one of them players that Man United just don't, or Michael Carrick anyway, maybe it's not Man United. Michael Carrick's got a real big decision because they paid big money for Mbeumo, and it's quite evident that Mbeumo, they paid big money for Diallo. Obviously, Diallo was 45 million, something like that, when they signed him. Then they sent him on loan for a couple of years. But Ahmad and Mbeumo both play same side. They can't both play. I just don't see a world in which they're both Man United players come the end of next season. I think one of them will move on. Pete, I want a shootout in this game so another Arsenal player can miss a penalty. Shay says, are you going to do a Prem prediction soon? I mean, mate, we don't... I probably should do more videos and isolate my opinions in little videos. I probably should. I tend to do everything in watch-alongs, don't I? That's been maybe one of the problems with the channel. I should do more, like, extra videos on certain subjects. Maybe. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll do a prediction video at the start of the season. I'll do one at the start of the season, and I'll do another one after the end of the transfer window. This charming Dan says, Ahmad is class, he just needs regular football. Cough, cough, Sunderland. Hey, getting back to Sunderland. Getting back to the Mackhams. How's it going, Mitch? Ahmad has more goals than Bukayo Saka in this World Cup. Bukayo Saka won't get many more, I don't think. Oh, who's gone down there? Is that Ulai? Who is it who's gone down? Is it Diallo? Who is it who's gone down? His shin's blocking his face. I can't see him. George, Ahmad would be on the bench for Arsenal, boot Madueke to the United or something. He would 100%. Ahmad would 100% start over Madueke. I think he's better than Madueke, and I think he would be... At his best, I think he is comparable to Saka. Certainly this version of Saka, let's say. I think, you know, what we've seen from Saka last year, if we're assuming that that is the norm, I think Amad Diallo can be better than that. And he's still quite young. There's a player in Amad Diallo, for sure. Yes, Matty, I agree. Billy says, who would you rather, Deeney in his prime or CR7 now? Tough one, that. You'd have to think about Troy Deeney. Adam says just load up a load on videos all at once and then release throughout the week. My problem is it's shorts. That's what gets you a massive audience, is just shorts. You need to do loads and loads of shorts. People seem to enjoy the lives, but the lives don't tend to get you an awful lot of push in the way that shorts do. And you need to be very clickbaity to do the shorts. And as we know, it's not really my game, that. I need to up my clickbait game. My rage bait game. Diallo couldn't lace Stuart Downing's boots. No Ivory Coast player has scored more goals than Amad Diallo at the World Cup so far. He's only started 2 games. And he scored in both of the games that he's come on in. That's the big point. Maybe he is a bench player. Maybe he's proving a point there, actually. Because that's the other way you could look at it, isn't it? That's the other side of Amad Diallo's coin. You could look at it and say when he starts, he actually doesn't make a huge impact. And if he's pushing for more starts, he needs to do more when he gets them. When you bring him off the bench, he's an impact player. He scores. And he's done it twice now. Cheers, Connor. What a guy. Saka's last season wasn't a great version of Saka. You have to go back to 23-24 to see a very good version of Saka again. Abdi Rahman, we can give you a Garte. You're all right, mate. You can keep him. Natalie says, will Saka end up in a similar position to Raheem Sterling, you reckon? I do, yeah. I think he is going down that path, maybe too many games too soon, and that's why I've been kind of worried about Rio. Everyone was saying he needs to start Rio last season. You've got to very slowly bed these players in. We're seeing more and more data come out now of young players who start games early in their career, get too much football, their bodies don't necessarily adapt with it, and they end up broken. They end up with all sorts of problems going on. We've seen it with Pedri, we've seen it with Gavi, and we've seen it with Lamine Yamal as well. All of whom have had consistent injuries. Trent as well. Trent, repetitive muscle injuries. Michael Owen, repetitive muscle injuries. It's a very, very common thread now. Timbo, just post anti-Arsenal TikTok content on every week. You start with why the Invincibles is the most overrated team of all time. I did think it was quite funny, by the way. If you go on my Insta, search Key Thomas. If you've not already, follow me on Insta. Key Thomas, Matchday Tavern. Go and check it out. I did a post on there about Granit Xhaka going to Chelsea potentially, and it started with Arsenal fans being upset about it because there was big Arsenal fan channels calling him a mercenary for going. And I posted and said, Arsenal fans are in outrage, they're in uproar about Granit Xhaka. And immediately, it was dead funny. There was dozens of them who came on and just went, we're not angry, we're not outraged. It's you're kind of making me point for me here. You're making me point for me. Clarkey, I think Amad Diallo is a better player than Bukayo Saka. Haaland! Oh, it's 2! They've won it late on! 86 minutes! Erling Braut Haaland! 86 on the clock, 2-1, there you go. Oh, Amad's not stopping this now. I can't see him getting it. Look at that. Alfinger in the stands. Very proud moment for him. His boys just putting the Norwegians into the round of 16. Haaland plus yoga equals winner. Oh, it's a shame for Ivory Coast. I think they've deserved to take this to extra time. I really do. Haaland's dad's in tears. It's a great pass. Fabulous bit of football. And it's there again. It's always that type of goal. And it's Patrick Berg with a lovely little pass. It's all come from Patrick Berg, that. Great little piece of play. To find Haaland from that position. I mean, do you know what? I don't think that's even a finish from Haaland. That's a very heavy touch, isn't it? That's a very heavy touch from Erling Haaland. That's not a finish. That's a very lucky goal from Erling Haaland. It is. It's almost like he tries to cushion it. And he's got lead in his boots and it just rolls into the net. The sweetest little thumb drop goal. Goal of the tournament. Behave yourself. Tap in, Merchant. Great pass from Oscar Bob. That's very true. Yeah, Bob's got to take his flowers as well. Nicolas Pepe's off. I think, is it Bazumana Toure coming on now? He tapped it slow to make that keeper watch it roll in. Watch what I do to you, you whore. No, it's Diakite who's come on. Ivory Coast still pushing. They've got 3 minutes of normal time left. Could we have a late equaliser? We got a late goal gone in. Maybe we'll get a late equaliser. Who knows? Tom says Diamond stinker. Oh, don't be like that, mate. Don't start going off on it saying like, just because he's apparently not coming to Liverpool now, I'm going to call him every name under the sun. You're better than that, mate. You are better than that. Norway beat Brazil, I'm telling you all now. Is that who they've got next round? Is that who it is? Oh, it is as well. Brazil versus Norway. Yeah, I think Norway beat Brazil as well. I think I'm with you on that one. I am with you. Shahid says, Vigo the Carpathian, well done for getting Norway through, even though you're from Transylvania. No, he's from Carpathia. He's the scourge of Moldavia. Tom, just saying what I'm watching, definitely not 150 million player. Market's got mad. Why are you saying 150? They're not asking 150. Natalie says if they beat Brazil, it could be England after. I don't think England make it past Mexico, if I'm honest, Natalie. The way we've been playing. Got a lot to do. Game isn't over yet, says Kieran. Don't be counting on Norway even playing Brazil yet. Yeah, it's still time. Ivory Coast still pushing. Three starts, 5 goals for Erling Haaland. He scored in every single World Cup game he's played in his career. Absolute machine. Here's Jan Diamand inside. It's good football, but again, overrun by the player he passed it to. Newcastle United have entered a settlement agreement with UEFA following a breach of its financial sustainability regulations up to 2025. What does that actually mean, though? Yeah, Newcastle have reached a settlement agreement breaking the rules. Shay says, what do you think on Rodgers being 130 million? Is he worth it? No. Not for me. No. I think he probably will go for over 100 million, though. But I think if you look around the market, you'd find it very, very difficult to argue that Morgan Rodgers is less than 100 million. But I think once you start getting north of what Elliot, I think you're looking at 110. I think 110 is probably about right. 130, I think, would be far too excessive. That would probably be prohibitive. Robert, he didn't score against France, did he? He's not. He didn't play against France. City of Northville, there is no doubt that Haaland would be furiously sacking villages if it were 1066 right now. Oh, he's gone down in the at the edge of the box there, El Yawahi. And he's up pretty quickly as well. Maybe he had a little cheeky dabble on him getting fouled. That's a great ball. Ghislaine Conan stood up far post. Oh, big chance. Nyland couldn't get a touch on it. Oh, they're still pushing. There's 6 more minutes of injury time to go. Ivory Coast got to get more players in the box. There's only really Wahi in there. Now they've got 4 in there. Here we go. This is where they're going to start to hurt Norway. Got to get more players in and around the 6-yard box. There's not really enough in there. Diamand. Good defending. That's not a foul, ref. That's not a foul. It's really not a foul. Scouser says, Barcola for Liverpool, do you want him or is he overrated? I don't think he's overrated. I think he's overvalued. PSG apparently saying they believe him to be worth 130, 150 million. Between that, well in excess of what Elliot Anderson has gone for, even though I've no idea why he's being compared to Elliot Anderson. The two don't make any, they're not, it's not a comparison at all. They might as well have said, well, if Gianluigi Buffon's worth 40 million 20 odd years ago, then yeah, definitely Barcola must be worth 4 times that now. Billy MC says, Ed Sheeran spent like 20 minutes speaking to Messi in English before a trainer shouted to Ed that Messi doesn't speak any English. Swifty, always a risk when a player goes from a club managed by Emery. He makes players look good and no guarantee they can replicate elsewhere. So there are a few examples of that. Yeah, I thought that's a good shout, actually. Right, Jan Diamand is off, as is Ghislaine Conan, and now we've got Gesand and Bazumana Toure on 2 players who are going to affect things at the top end of the pitch. They've only got 4 minutes to do it. Not long. Not long. Connor says Rodgers is worth around 80 million and a £50 Uber Eats gift card. What are they smoking if it's 130 to 150? Manchester United fans do that cope too. It makes losing easier. Robert says, Key, if the coach of Japan could speak English, he'd be a top European manager, I'm telling you. It's a questionable comment, that, Robert. Ivory Coast actually have the better team. I think Ivory Coast have been full value to take this to extra time. I think they've had a good game. And probably, yeah, it's a bit of a harsh... It's a harsh result. I think they've had many chances. But then again, listen, Norway have had one cleared off the line as well. It's hard to also argue that, listen, Norway have taken the chances. Ivory Coast haven't in the final third. That's a great bit of football. And it's come from a piece of genius from Amad Diallo, ultimately. That's not a foul, ref. Good tackle, well done. There's only 3 minutes left. They've got to act now. They've got to start getting the ball in. Flicked far post. Edge of the box. Ramsey says Haaland is not a good player, but he's a great goal scorer. I like that. Yeah, I think that's. I'm not sure about not a good player. I agree with what you're saying in principle that he doesn't really affect the game quite as much as he should, but he always scores, and that's maybe all you need from a centre forward, isn't it? Natalie says PSG proved the Arsenal Premier League win was a fluke, considering they got panned in the Champions League final, while the year before both Liverpool and Villa beat them. I think it wasn't even just that. I think the big thing in the final was it kind of proved everyone right, didn't it? Proved everyone right about how Arsenal play. He didn't try and break any notion at all that he might have maybe Arteta will have a pop at him. Maybe Arteta will push forward and try and be attacking. Timbo says Rodgers is probably worth 100 million to Villa because they won't be able to convince someone as good as him to join them if Rodgers left. They need to sell as well, don't they, Villa? Apparently, Ivory Coast now, that looks like they're going to have a go here. Frank Kessie looks like he's going to have a shot. Amad Diallo's over it as well. This looks miles too far out. 40 yards. Diallo's gone for it. Oh my God, what a save. An absolute worldie from Ivorian Nyland. And Amad Diallo, you can see he's dropped to his knees there. It looked like it was in. Oh, it's a great save. Fabulous save. Diallo pulling out all the stops here. Wonder strike. What a save. Absolute magic from the goalkeeper again. He's had a good game, Ivorian Nyland. Wasn't this good when he was in the Premier League? Former Villa keeper, Ivorian Nyland. How's Diamand been? He's just gone off the pitch. There's only 30 seconds or so left of injury time, so the game's nearly done. It's looking like it is going to be Norway who make it through. Ivory Coast got to have one last push forward now. Diamand, I would say, he's had an alright game. He's been involved in a lot of the good stuff that Ivory Coast have done, but probably just ran out of steam at the end. This is a good run from Torre, and I think it's going to be a corner, is it? Is it? Yeah, corner kick Norway. And this is where they're probably going to have to send the keeper forward, are they? Amad Diallo's going over to take it. Keeper, is he going up? Yaya Fofana, I think he is. We might see an Alisson Becker moment here. This is last throw of the dice. Yaya Fofana comes forward. Last chance saloon. You're not going to get another chance. If this gets cleared, Norway are through to the round of 16. It's all on this. Yaya Fofana's unmarked. They've not even put anyone on him. If Amad Diallo gets the ball in right and the keeper gets a run, he's got a good chance here. There's no one on him. Diallo, good ball in. Header. Oh, scramble. Got to hit it back in. What are you doing? You've not got time. Oh my God, that's so annoying. It's the referee's blown up and it's just so frustrating. He had the chance to put the ball back in the box there and he didn't. He ends up passing it all the way back and that's it. Full time. Erling Haaland with a tap-in gets the winner. Ivory Coast are out. Disappointing for them. The Elephants made it work for the first half. Probably unlucky to go in 1-0 down at half-time. But there you go. Two goals from Haaland and Noosa. Probably the two stars of Norwegian football now. And Diallo with a goal for Ivory Coast. Full time. Right. Well, we've not got extra time to deal with. We've got an hour and 45 minutes now till France and Sweden. So yeah, France, Sweden, an hour 45. And I will be back for that one. If you haven't already, to the people who are new to the Tavern, hit like if you want to see more of these videos popping up on your news feed, on your browse feed on YouTube. If you want to see them keep coming up, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. If you're on TikTok, do us a favour, hit follow. Well, don't do us, do yourself a favour. If you want to watch these watch-alongs, we're live throughout the World Cup. Make sure you're hitting like and subscribe. You'll see more of these videos popping up. And a big thank you to everyone that's been in the chat tonight. Really appreciate you. A lot to love. And we will see you all in a little... Well, an hour 45. Yeah, an hour 45 for the France-Sweden game. Come on, Isak. Come on, Isak. Maybe we'll see a bit of this. We'll see a bit of this later on. See you all in a little bit. Ta-da.